Jill, how is the weather today and how are you this morning? Jill, can you hear us? I hope you can. And Fernando, I would like to, do you see the whiteboard, the concept board at the moment? Do you have an access to it or not yet? Or
Shabbat
the
Shalom.
Shabbat
Moments.
Shalom, thank you. Shabbat Shalom,
I'm
Jill. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm out in by our food truck, so it's noisy. We're by the railroad track, but I just wanted to say hello, and then I'm gonna be on mute. But the weather here is it's really nice. It's cool, but it's sunny, so it's beautiful. And I'm glad to be talking with you guys. I missed you yesterday, and I'm gonna get off here because it's noisy.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, Jill, from us.
You
Thank you.
too.
Thank you. So now we see on the major screen on YouTube. Can you see this? Fernando, at the moment, can you follow? Is it an option for you to see?
Yes, I'm connecting it. I can see now. Yes.
So this is the sketch that was taken from a book in the 16th century, in the 1500s. It
Oh,
was found in Sholem collection, the Sholem Library in Jerusalem, and it was written by a very famous person that you mentioned once, and Giovanni Pico della Mirandola. This is it. This is the book that we ordered. This is this is basically a book cover that Yuda Libas who wrote this book, Alilot Elohim, the God story. He used this illustration for the cover. So I would like to ask you, what do you see in this image, and how does it affect you when you see this? What kind of impression do you have when you see this?
it's beautiful. It's the author of the book. Just one question is Yehuda Libes.
Yes, yes, Yuda
In,
Libes. Yes.
Interesting. Yesterday I downloaded some articles from him,
Mhm.
and it was the first time that I read his name was yesterday. So
Yes.
okay.
He teaches in Hebrew University in Jerusalem for a few decades. He was a student of Gershom Scholem, and now he's a teacher. He's a professor. Yes, yes.
It's amazing.
It's the first time that you see this image, or have you seen it before?
No, I saw because you posted on Slack. You sent me. I sent to Rodrigo as well,
Mhm.
and the image is very beautiful because we can see this hammer from the heavens
Mhm.
taking fire from a stone. So, so it's like bringing life to something that it's apparently uh, stuck in time and space,
Yes,
forging our soul, maybe.
yes, yes. And I would like also to bring a verse from Jeremiah 23. I'll bring it 1 second. Jeremiah 23:29. Jeremiah. I'll put it also here on YouTube that people could follow. Jeremiah 23, and I'll put the verse itself on the whiteboard that everybody could watch the Hebrew and the English translation. 1 second. It's downloading the verse, and soon we shall see the verse itself. Here it is. Here. Can you please read, Fernando, the English translation? Do you see the verse on the whiteboard?
Yes, I can see it. So, verse 29. Is not my word like as fire, said the Lord, and like a hammer that breaketh the rock in pieces?
Yes. This is how, in a way, insights are coming to us. Like this is a description of a hammer, like something that gets into our mind. It is something which is coming to us. So in the Zohar, they use the term Butsina Cardinuta. Butsina Cardinuta. I will not write it because it's a lot of letters, but Butsina is like from Tsahov. Tsahov, boots is Tsahov, is yellow or light. A light that comes from the darkness. Cardinuta, please just listen to the sound. Cardinuta, if we opposite the letters, even in English, cardinuta, dark. The yellow light that comes from the darkness. This is how the insight is coming to us, or the words or ideas, because we are like dark body. You were showing yesterday, we are like children of the moon, and suddenly comes something to us. And this the first spark which is coming to us is described in the Zohar, in the book of Zohar, Butsina de Cardinuta, light that comes from the darkness, and sense is a signal like a lightning in the darkened sky. And here we see this in a way, the light is like a hammer that breaks stones. And also Felipe wrote about it in Slack. He looked at the stone, Evan, and he said that Evan is the relation between the father and the son, Av and Ben, Evan. Evan is not just a stone. In in Hebrew, I'll put here, I'll change my pen into writing mode. Evan is not just a stone in English. It is also composition of two words, Av and Ben. Av is father, Ben is a son. So Evan, stone, is a connection between father and son, but not in a biological um, aspect, but as understanding, because Av is the cause, what was before, and then from the cause we have Ben from Havana, understanding, and then we understand. Av, in a way, has the value of three. Three, we said that this is the spirit, and from the spirit which is moving in us, we understand things, because the spirit causes a movement in us, a chain of things that according to the process of things in us, we try to understand. We are like a rock here, like Jeremiah says, Selah is a rock. And slowly, in the course of our life, we get those sparks from the infinite that are trying to shape their way and to soften our being here.
It's beautiful. It's it's really amazing.
Do you have any questions, Fernando, that you'd like to ask about articles of Eudalides? And please ask, everything is open.
I think that is related with this, Eti. And I have a question. I was reading the book of Sohar, and I was reading about the mitzvah. The sages has a discussion about what does it mean to grow up and be fruitful, and multiply, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
And people usually get this mitzvah in a very literal way,
Mhm.
we can see that sometimes people look at this as something very literal. But I was thinking about the tree of life and the marriage between Zerampin and Nukva,
Mhm.
the marriage between the 6 lower spheres and Malchut, the 7 lowers, making
Mhm.
the marriage between the male and the female in that front to front relationship that you once said and everything. And I was just wondering, what does it mean to have a son, or to bring sons, multiply spiritual sons
Mhm.
in this context?
Thank you
If
for
you
the
could
question.
say so.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you for the
Thank
question. Also, Weinreb wrote about this, and Israel Cohen, I read his translation. He translated many of his books. I mean, the major book that he translated is the Roots of the Bible into Hebrew, but he translated many, many more of his books during the course of his work. So, and we came to the same conclusion, Weinreb. So let's write it. It's very simple. Pru urvu, the first, how do you say, good deed or command? I don't know, command, but the first blessing in the Bible to human is pru urvu. And we can, you know what? Before I write, I'll bring it from the Hebrew Bible, and we could see how does the letters appearing, and we could abstract them, and you will tell me what does it mean, because the value, the numerical value of them is speaking for itself. 1 second. Yeah, here it is. Second. Here it is. Genesis 2:28. I'll open maybe here that we could see the letters, and we could mark the letters that everybody could see. Here we see this. Yeah, so you see the words pro or vous. Here it is. This is pro. Here I'll have to make the pen red again. Pro. This is be fruitful or vous. Be fruitful and multiply. So let's make the letters into numbers, and see what kind of a review they give us. Pour or vous. Pei is 80, Resh is 200, Vav is 6. So here we have 286. Vav is 6, Resh is 200, Bet is 2, and Vav is 6. So how much do we have here?
214.
And how much they do together?
Let's see. 500. 500.
Yes. So, what does it mean according to the Bible? What is the meaning of be fruitful and multiply? Does it refer to a literal aspect of just producing more and more books, selling more and more cups, making more and more fortune? What does it mean?
It's the in that triangle of Pythagoras triangle, we have the number 5 is the child,
Yes,
is the resultant of the connection between body and soul,
yes, excellent,
body and spirit.
excellent. This is the manifestation of the temple. The temple also used to be, if the land of Canaan used to be a square of 400 on 400, and we can summarize it into 4 on 4, the temple is a square of 5 on 5. How can it be that the temple is bigger than the land of Canaan? Because the temple is not coming from here, from the manifestation, or the full hand perspective does not come from the matter, but from the source, from the origin, because 5 is 4 plus 1. And you're right, Po'ovu, be fruitful and multiplies, refers to the fact that in the course of our life we shall reach what? The full head perspective, the temple.
And the tree of life also. It was 500 years to
Five
climb the
and the
tree of life.
eight, yes, and the 5, the course of the tree of life is 500 years. This is a full head perspective. Yes, the letter Hey, the child, correct? Tree.
It is. You know, I always like to think in our daily perspective, like the here and now, to trying to apply these teachings. And could we say that to be aware that everything comes from the higher and to make the blessings from for everything that happens to us, you know, even to take a cup of water and to do a blessing, or to see a bird and and be happy that it comes also from the higher, could be related with this full hand perspective, with this marriage between Malhut and Zeranpin.
Yes, 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 because Aaron Bean is like the spirit. So there is a, and Malchut is like silence, Mama. And when there's like relation between them, there's the speech, the Zeranpin brings spirit. Yesterday, Felipe asked very good question about mothers that are the children. The child is so demanding, and it's quite exhausting for the mother to be around the child 24/7. And he was asking, what can I do? And the answer is quite simple, to give spirit. Because in the Malchut, things are just like, if we can take this image, it's just mechanical things. Mechanical, it's exhausting. But the spirit, and then comes the spirit and helps and revive. Do you understand? Like, one second, one second. Like the fact that a person notices there's a water and he blesses the cup of water that he drinks, whether in let's say through a book or by his heart. His heart is happy that he can drink. So there is a recognition of something higher than himself happening at this point, at this moment. And the recognition is coming from the spirit. And the spirit is called in the book of Zohar Ze'er Anpin, or little face. Why little face? Because when we have deeper perspective, a wider perspective or longer perspective, this is Arich Anpin. Really, really, when we can see the course of things. But most of us are living in Malchut, and part of us already have this connection to the spirit. So this is their Anpin, little face, little portion, because in this world, in space and time, this is in a way the highest that we can reach at this level. But it is good not to. It's good that we can learn the languages of the terms that Zohar uses, but it's very good not to get stuck on it, because like you notice, there's appreciation of a person who's seeing a bird moving. There's appreciation when we have a water to drink, and the sense of appreciation is is very important. Also makes us very happy. Does it make any sense, Fernando?
Yes, it makes all the sense. And and while you were talking, it came a lot of insights and ideas that I will work on, and I thank you so much.
You're welcome. This morning and last night I was reading about the connection between Pythagoras and Moses, and there was a notion. I read it in Yuda Libes. He really wrote deep research about those topics for years. It's almost impossible to circle his writing. It's immense body of work. And there was a notion that in the ancient books that he was quoting, that Pythagoras got his Torah from Moses. And I thought to myself, I don't know, I can look and see in the footnotes where he wrote this and the sources, but I told myself the name Moses himself, I mean itself, the name Moses itself is a manifestation of Pythagoras triangle. So it is funny that in the books, in the ancient books, they say that Pythagoras learned from Moses, you know, because we speak,
It's
it is,
amazing.
you always tell me what, and there was a great sense in the Renaissance in Italy. 345 is Pythagoras triangle, and this is the name of Moses. 3 is for the Shin, which is 300. Mem is the 4, and He is the 5. This is Moshe or Hashem. And there was a great sense in the, how do you say, in the Renaissance literature of Pythagoras and his school. Everybody felt, everybody who were learning, teaching, or writing or printing in this time, because also the Renaissance has to do with the printing invention. Everything came together. So everybody had the sense that Pythagoras is living through the book of Zohar and through Moses and through the Torah. And this is I read last night and this morning. And this is the impression that I get from you during those conversations, because you tell me all the time there's either sense of Renaissance or Pythagoras everywhere. Fibonacci. So it's the impression
Yes,
that they had as well.
it's maybe it. I know that the scholars always try to find the material
Mm.
connection. Like Pythagoras once traveled to some town and find some Jew that passed to him the Torah. And even in the book of Zohar, people say that it was in the land of Israel and went to Spain, and people tend to think that that is very material and literal, and maybe it is, but we can think also that when someone is able to go to the root of things,
Yes.
he is connected with all the sages that are there. So you do not need the material element, because a man like Pythagoras or a man like any sages, Moses de Leon or others,
Mhm.
I don't know, when or Isaac Luria, uh, he opened the sky, so it is not needed. Maybe the material aspect. I don't know. I'm
Yes.
just asking what you think
Yeah,
about this.
because you see, everybody's looking, where did they meet? Yes, if they lived in, like, let's say, 750 years distance, let's say historically, if we go to this, the root of the question, because the distance historically between them was about 750 years. So how could they meet? But in the mind. This is a divine logo. So if we abstract the name Moshe, we see it comes through the manifestation what we know now as Pythagoras triangle.
And I think that Luria speaks also about this, because he says in Sefer
Hmm.
Hagilgul, he speaks about that when a person is ready, heavenly soul come to be near of him. I don't know if you remember this. I don't know how to speak it in English. I only have in
Try
Portuguese.
to slowly until listen.
It seems that it's like a ibur, an heavenly baby that stays with your soul and guides your soul, or
Yes, escort,
it.
escorting. It is, yes, this is it. This is a conceivement situation, Ibu, in which in the course of our life, like, certain spirits are coming to give us a company and how do you say, levaya, escorting us through the course. It's not something so mysterious, because if a person goes to work and he thinks about a lore, or he thinks about the sage, so this moment that the person thinks, let's say, of Pythagoras or Aristo or Plato, so in those moments that he's thinking about topics or issues or people, he's with them. So the language that the Ha'ari, Rabbi Isaac Luria, used is ibur, conceived. Like a woman is conceived with a child, a physical fetus, a man is conceived, his mind, the man, as I said, the man's mind is conceiving another concept, which is escorting him. So in this way, not just ladies, so to speak, can conceive in the matter in space and time, also men or children. It doesn't matter if the child thinks now about spring or a flower, so his mind is occupied, he's conceiving the sense of a flower or a butterfly. So what goes through him is conceived through his mind and heart, is flower or a butterfly. So if we take a deep glance into our thoughts and feelings during the day, we can see that we are a great womb in the mind that through the portal of the mind we conceiving many ideas and perceptions.
Giving birth to this, right?
Sometimes it's just sometimes Ibu. I would like us to understand the word Ibu because it's more a symbol than it's more an image than to translate it to another language. Ibu is conceivement, but those letters is also avor, to pass, to pass, to cross. The things which are crossing our minds and heart. Like sometimes we see in a movie, what is going with you? A friend asking a friend, what's up in English? What's up? What's up? We have this application, what's up? But in Hebrew we say, ma over alecha. What is crossing you? Ma over alecha. Ma over alecha. What is moving or crossing or passing through you? Because what is crossing us or passing through us is the spirit. So at this moment, what is crossing us? What kind of a spirit is moving through us at this moment? I think that Ibur is 278. Let's look at it if I'm right. 72, 6, 278, Fernando?
Yes, yes, yes,
278 is what? Double time spirit?
yes,
Two dreams, and
yes.
this is two dreams, and because here we have three tetragrammatons. Mm-hmm.
78 is
Left,
Lehem,
yeah,
is
and two double. Thank
Halom.
you. So
Yes,
two double 78, we are 156.
yes,
156 is Joseph, Zion, and Ezekiel. Basically, it's six times the tetragrammaton or the Vav, the letter Vav. So when we asking in Hebrew, what is passing through you, or what is crossing you, what's up in English, it means the Vav, the spirit. What is happening at this moment? What's up? You know, what is crossing you, me, and the other one at this moment? Because at this moment, the spirit is moving. To one, it brings a song. To another one, it brings a sense that he's thirsty. To another one, he brings a sense that he wants to dance.
and we have only to escort. Could be sadness or could be joy.
Yes, yes, could be anything. This is why we should not be moved so much from what is moving through us, because we are hosting. We're like people in a house that are hosting guest. The guest is a spirit. Sometimes, like Felipe says in the sukkah, sometimes the guest has a mood. Sometimes the guest is upset. It's okay, but it's not absolute. Yes, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we are annoyed, sometimes somebody wrote something that we don't like, but not have a grudge on it because it's moving. And once we change our perception, this thing is not having control on us. Sometimes we are getting to a false perception that something which is moving is absolute. No, it's just moving. Questions?
Amazing. So the things are moving,
Yeah.
and returning to the first topic, we need to integrate with a higher perspective, right? Because we are the number four, we are here in the material realm, and the spirit is the number three, is what comes from the other side, like ever, that is the
Yes,
same
excellent. What is
root letters.
this is it. This is it comes through us. Okay, we here manifested in time and space. In a way, we are, like you say, we are in the realm of four, but the spirit is crossing through us all the time. The three, the dream, ever. Yes,
And the mitzvah is to make the number five. It is to only to score and to put in the correct dimension. Let's say in the proper dimension.
it is very interesting what you said, because if we remember that, like you said, we are here in the form, but the spirit is always like moving and try to tell us everything is relativized. The three is always relativizes the four. The four is a sense of us being stuck in concrete and nothing can change. And the three is always coming, hey, don't forget, brother, everything is relativized. And when the three is like coming all the time, it gives us a sense of the five, that in a way, the fact that the spirit is always moving and try to, how do you say, relativize everything, gives us a sense that there's something else, the five. Not every moment we can get this sense of the completeness beyond there, but the movement of the spirit is something which is very, very important for us to feel. This is why it is very important for us to take a walk a few times in the open air, because it regulates the thoughts, that the fact that our both feet are touching the ground and walking, the renewal of the spirit, the renewal of the thoughts gets different perspective. There's different kinds of light during the day. It is important. What makes us walk is the spirit. If a person cannot walk or doesn't have a mood or is like a potato in the chair, he should consider the fact that because the fact that we are light in movement is good. Is good. Dancing is also good. Dancing is against gravity. So
It's amazing it. And you know, we listen a lot that our body it's a temple,
yes,
right?
yes,
It's must be a temple for the higher.
yes.
And I'm looking at this triangle. We have the four, that is our body, and could be related with Yerushalayim, because it was, like you said, the 400 was the large of the city, and the 500 is the temple,
Yes.
and the three is the spirit. This is why we need to be pure-hearted people. We need to be pure to receive this, to be aware of the spirit that is passing, right?
You can,
To be aware.
yes, you can also look, we can also look at the five if you want to concretify this, the, how do you say, the spirit of things. The five is a person, five is composition of four and one. Four are the organs, like arms and legs, and one is the head, the source. When, and our chest is where the spirit moves. Yes, but I don't want to go into this to cut, because it's not like it. I could do it. I could do it through the manifestation
Yes,
of the
yes.
spheres, but I don't want us to think in this rigid form. This is what people tend to fall in university. I read all night those books and I see how they try to put it in the mechanics, and it's not in the mechanics, it's in the spirit. It is in the spirit. Yes, give you an example. The dream of Jacob with the ladder. He is afraid. He is running from his brother. The hunter is here or himself, and the dream comes and speaks about different reality. Jacob is here caught in this time. He is running from his brother. He does not know to which future he will turn. He is worried. And the dream says, you know what? There is another dimension, the letter. At a moment, you are not able to see it, but this is it. We are moving in time, and this is not just true for Jacob, for all humanity. We are moving in a diagonal way. This is the safest way for us to move. Like we put a ladder, we never put the ladder, if this is a wall, we will never put a ladder parallel to the wall, it will fall. We always put a ladder when you want to climb, yes, in a diagonal relation to the wall. This is how we move in time. Look at our corona times in general. We never also the whole system of Shmitot. You know what Shemitah is? That 6 years we cultivate the land, and the seventh year we let the land rest, and then we start another cycle of seven, and then we do 7 cycles of seven, and we have 49 years, and then the next is Jubilee. This is how we move. We move in Jubilee. So, what does it mean to move in Jubilee? Fernando, now I ask you. What does it mean to move? Why does the Bible sits on Jubilee? What does Jubilee
Okay.
symbolize?
Is the Sulam,
Is this?
the ladder.
Yes, this is the ladder. This is, if you add to it another zero, this is 500 years of the course of the tree of life. This is a safe system. The Bible does not speak just about what people think, and in churches in all kinds of circles, that it's punishment, do it or not do it. This is how the the source that created the universe bring us into our notion to acknowledgement. This is how it works. There's a graduation progress in time, and this is the safe path to go through. This is it. This is safe. So today maybe people do not take this into consideration, but we can look at the corona times as a jubilee. There's a setup of all systems in all dimensions, something that even governments or the UN and the health organization, if they would sit together, they would not come to such a setup. This is not something that man set by his hands and mind. This is a plan. But to bring us safe to the next stage. If we read about the Jubilee in the Bible, it says that in the Jubilee year, people do nothing. There is a supply, and the supply that human needs will arrive at them. And there is a system which go beyond the 50. Everything is already set. The fact that we are with short sight, short mind, do not want to receive it is something else, but it's there. There is a discussion here between people on YouTube. It's very nice. Thank you so much. Questions and thoughts, Fernando?
I'm wondering, it's amazing everything that you are saying, that we must be aware of this reality and that we are not in control, that we only have to escort the spirit. And I'm thinking about Jacob and the ladder. And when he discovered this, let's say, he said about that it was terrifying,
Yes,
right?
מנורה, מנורה המקום הזה.
Noha,
Yes.
yes, Noha, yes.
Yes.
So why was uh, terrifying to know this truth, for Jacob? If
What was terrifying, נורא המקום הזה. המקום הזה, the space, מקום is space or place. Space or place. It's horrible and terrifying because there is a recognition that there's a huge systems above our heads. Jacob dream. We speak all the time about the name Moses. This is a manifestation of the Pythagoras because we find also in the literature the connection between Pythagoras and Moses. But the first probably there's previous also proofs if we shall look for them. Jacob dream of the ladder is the first manifestation of Pythagoras triangle. First, probably there are more. But before the name Moses, we have Jacob dream is a manifestation of Pythagoras triangle. And this is horrible because a person says, okay, so it's not only me here in space and time in this junction, there's something higher and higher and uh, huger than me that even I'm swallowed in it. It is so huge that I'm nothing against it. This is what he says. It's terrible when somebody will open and show you a plan and you get what we're so little against this plan. We're like ants. So it's horrible. A person in his fear. When a person walks in life and he has a fear, the fear is something very concrete. It's a huge demon that runs in a person when he is afraid, either from a person, from a system, from a test, from the next step in life. There are all kinds of fears and anxieties that people have, and it's natural. But the fear is something very concrete because it separates us. But suddenly he has this fear, and with this fear he goes to sleep. But he wakes up and says it's terrible because this fear, the fear, how do you say, anxiety, fear that he experiences is just a gate to something much huger than the fear. Do you understand? If the fear is the body, because when people are afraid, they feel it in their bodies, it's something very concrete, or in the mind. And so it's not that just this fear exist. Noah, horrible, terrible thing exists. There's something beyond this. Like Van Reb says, we always experience the reality from this side. From this side, this is time. This is what we know. The moon, even when the sun is shining, we feel ourselves like bodies. We don't feel ourselves like spirit at all. This is what we feel. And in this dream here, I'll put it in another color. He noticed there is a different reality. It's and מה נורא המקום הזה, it's terrible this place, it's not, it's אין זה כי בית האלוהים ושער השמיים. This is not but Bet Elohim, the house of God, V'sha'ar Hashamayim, and the gates of the heavens. He understands there's a higher, big, higher reality than himself and his sphere. This is the gate of heaven. Here he is conditional, afraid from his brother. His brother wants to kill him several times. He's conditional. He has to flee. He doesn't know where to flee. His mother tells him where to flee. He's so conditional. And he has this dream and he says, okay, here in the dream, I'm not conditional. There's a ladder. I'm not, and we shall see this theme will continue with the struggle with the angel because the same structure of the Pythagoras and the the ladder we shall see in the fight of Yabok. In Yabok, he will have to do the same thing. He will cross Yabok. This is Jabok. He will cross it. And here, like we saw in Paul Gauguin's painting, he comes here and to the unconditional. What he first sensed in a dream, in his dream, here above that we saw in red, or is his dream somewhere else? Let me find it. It's quite upstairs. I'll make another drawing. Let me find the page. Second. What he experienced here as a dream, and he was a bachelor when he had this dream. He was a bachelor. He was fleeing from his brother. At the Yabok crossing, after he is married or engaged with 4 women and 12 children, he put all his women and children here in the west side, in the conditional side, and he is fighting with the angel here. And at dawn, his name will change to Israel, unconditional. Not Jacob, the one who has 2 heels, Yaakov, Yod. The covenant will follow the heel of his brother, the foot, his brother footprints, like a person whose little child who follows father's steps. No, he will become unconditional Israel. So the manifestation of the dream will happen where? Here, at Yabok crossing. The Zohar says many, many times that the name, whenever we see the name Jacob, even in English, Jacob in the Bible, this is Jacob when he's little. What does it mean, little? Conditional, like body without head. Whenever we see the name Israel, we see the unconditional, the soul. This is why all the time, sorry, just one remark, because this Pythagoras, Moses, and Jacob, I have to put it into a concept. Many, many times in the Zohar says Jacob is Moses. I'm not sure that you met this sentence, but along crossing the Zohar and the whole literature of Zohar, we shall find Jacob is Moses. What? And people ask themselves, what Jacob is Moses? How can it be? And you see in the Pythagoras again, they hide it. They hide it with the names, but this is it. This is Shin, Mem, Hey, Moshe, and this is the Jacob with the same, but with the tetragrammaton, because 3 double 26 and 3 double, sorry, 4 double 26, this is Jacob. It's the same thing. This is 7 times 26, this is Jacob. Jacob 1:82. And here's the letter.
Yes, I understood.
So when people are always reading the Zohar, why Jacob is Moses? Jacob was here, Moses was in Egypt, all kinds of things. But to understand those concepts, we have to really go to the core of thought. And not many people are willing to do this. They say, accept it as absolute truth because it was written in the Zohar. Accept it as absolute. But you can ask why to accept it as absolute truth. Where do they come with it?
It's amazing. It's a lot of things, but it's beautiful what you are saying because it comes back to the first mitzvah that we were talking about. People can get very literal, hyper literal meaning, but what the sages are saying it's very much more subtle. So it's not easy to grasp the secret. It's,
it
it's very difficult, but I love it. The idea of 7 times 26 is the same idea as Moses.
it's the same structure. What we are trying to say, Lulia got it. Lulia and Pythag and the students that their writings smuggled into Europe, to Italy, and were printed there. They understood it, but I'm not sure that the people that came after understood it. Because people just go with the blind religious eyes or blind academic eye. I don't know. I'm not sure that people went into and make those connections. They always ask themselves in the research, what does it mean? And I'm not sure that they went into the mathematics. The only person who went deep into the mathematics was Weinreb.
And it's interesting that Weinreb, in his first chapter, very first chapter of the Roots of the Bible, the name of the chapter is Counting to Four, and he's talking about Pythagoras. He says that is the same idea that Pythagoras was telling to his disciples on the counting to four, what it means to count to four, and what the Bible expects us to understand. This relationship between the three, the four, and the five, or the one, the two, the three, and the four, the tetragrammaton, and so on. So it's interesting what you say.
It's interesting that Gershom Scholem in his education was a mathematician. His education, formal education, he was a mathematician, and also Weinreb, yes, he was professor for statistics. I find it fascinating when we approach the Bible from this angle. Of course, we can approach the Bible from different kinds of angles, like linguistics, poetics, artistics. There are many, but to approach, like let's say from mathematical or geometrical or vector, it's getting interesting there, really. Little Red Riding Hood. Isn't calculating something we should not do when loving? Yes, yes, we don't calculate, yes, how many cookies the guests were eating at the table. This is not it. And your question is on its place, in its place. It speaks, I mean, Counting, it means telling, not calculating, but counting. Lispor, to count. The verb in Hebrew, lispor, is also lesaper, to count. Lispor, is also lesaper. Lesaper is to tell a story. So counting, yes. Felipe, Fernando, how do we say to count and to tell in Portuguese?
It is the
It
same.
is the
It's
same.
yes, contar, contar.
Contar.
I can contar a number, or I can tell a story. It's contar uma história. It's the same idea.
Thank you. Also in French and also in German. And it's not calculating what Little Red Riding Hood was asking, it's just counting. That counting is like telling. Conter, conter. It has to do when we count, we can tell a story. It's like counting is like marking the way. Having a road, there's a story, there's a way. This is what it means. We're not calculating for making profits. This is not a Babylonian. It's very good what you're asking. This is not a Babylonian thinking, calculating to get profit, to utilize everything. This is counting that causes us to connect to the cause of causes. The counting causes us to relate. This is something completely different. It's not that we calculate to make a better calculate to make a better income, to gain something. No, not to gain a profit to ourselves, that the movement is to suck like a baby. No, we are counting to find a relation to the higher. It's not calculating, but counting to relate to something which is something or nothing. It depends of how we look at it, which is much, much higher than us and infinite. So counting is finding a way to relate to the absolute. This is it. Do we understand each other? I hope we do. So if we don't have further questions, I will seal this conversation and I will thank you all for participating in asking, in writing, in listening, and bringing ideas and developing here connections and conversations on the chat on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eti. Shabbat Shalom and Shabbat Shalom, friends. And I'm so happy, Eti, for this lesson. And I thank you from my
Thank you
heart.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bachelor.